singing for such a long time. Sometimes the road was rough and the hills were hard to climb. I kept on believing that he would make a way. He turned my darkest hour to a bright sunshiny day. I can do all things through Christ. I really wanna be what the Lord wants me to be. I'll sing His praise. Sing 'em in the songs that I sing. Then I'll go home. Welcome to another edition of Music Entertainment Industry Talk with your host, Don Paget. Hey, make sure you tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell a relative that we're on. And don't forget to share the broadcast. And thank you for tuning in. Heal my body too. Sometimes my burdens make it so hard to bear. I don't worry, I just take it to the Lord in prayer. I can do all things through Christ. I wanna be what the Lord wants me. Don't forget to share this broadcast. Don't forget to share this broadcast. All right, welcome to another edition of Music Entertainment Talk. Hey, we got a wonderful program for you this evening, and we have a special guest in the house. A legend is in the house. Reverend Larry Young is in the house, and I'm telling you, I'm so proud to have him come on. Work with Reverend Larry Young for so many years, and it's a blessing just to have him on today and to be able to give this interview on tonight. And without further ado, we're going to bring in Reverend Larry Young. All right. How you doing, Reverend Young?
I'm good. How you doing, brother?
Oh, blessings, man. Oh, man, it's a privilege to have you right here on Music Entertainment Industry Talk, living legend. Yes, and you work with so many artists in the gospel music industry, such as Slim and the Supreme Angels, of course, and Spencer Taylor and the Highway QCs. I'm telling you, you've done it. So Willie Banks and the Messengers, man, awesome.
Peaks.
Yes, and so many others. Welcome to welcome to V Network Radio and Music Entertainment Industry Talk. Wow.
Thank you for having me.
All right. You've worked with so many artists down through the years, Larry, and one of the artists that stands out, so many stand out, is Spencer Taylor and the Highway QCs, Slim and the Supreme Angels, and you recorded that song that we just played, I Could Do All Things. Tell us a little bit about your tour. Tell us about sing with such legends in the gospel music industry.
Well, I actually got my start with Spencer Taylor and Highway QCs. I think I was about 15 years old, and I started working with them, and I remember meeting Spencer just before we went on stage to sing. I had been rehearsing with the group. So, it all really started, I think I was in maybe 8th grade, and my father brought home the Lord is Sweet album by the Highway QCs. And everybody used to sing this song, I Got a Feeling, and the Lord is Mighty Sweet, and My Dream, and I had just started playing bass guitar, and I used to practice and play with that album day and night. And I used to look in the mirror, and I just be playing and playing. And I would say, one day I'm gonna play for Spencer Taylor and the Highway QCs. And when
Wow.
I got my chance, and I was like ecstatic, man. I was like, man, this is wonderful. And I remember Spencer, he gave me a lot of words of encouragement. He's not a guy who like to raise his voice or scream or holler, but he's a laid back kind of guy. He's like, Larry, I don't play guitar, but if you listen to me, I'll make a professional out of you. I'll show you things and I'll teach you things that you need to know in
Wow.
this gospel field.
Yeah.
And I thank you for that. Now, Slim, he's a different character. Slim, I mean, he's a whole, he's like hot and cold with Spencer and Slim. And I used to get tickled because with Slim and the Supreme Angels, I played the keyboards and the organ. And with Spencer Taylor, I played the guitar.
Wow.
And we would be at concerts, and Slim and Spencer would always have this debate. And I'm standing there, and they like, you're wasting his talent. You got him on the guitar. You should have him on the organ. And I was like, you should have him on the organ, not on the guitar. And they used to go back and forth which one I should be on.
Yeah.
But I was glad to be on either one of them. I just wanted
Yeah.
to be in the group, and
I
I
can.
thank them for their teaching
Yeah.
because I mean, you talking about knowledge and wisdom, man. Between those two guys, man, you got centuries of talent and knowledge. I mean, a lot of people don't know even some of the chords that I play still to this day on the organ.
Yeah.
Slim used to tell me play the chord, and then he'd come and he run his finger up the keyboard and say, now add this note and add this note in the chord. And I'm like, what are you doing? And see, I wasn't thinking, but he was like, he was trying to teach me the sound of the Supreme Angels.
Right.
Now I mean, yes, you have a style, but you have to have that sound too.
That's
See,
right.
like a lot of people nowadays, they take contemporary chords and put with major, basic major singing, and
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of it doesn't blend all together. Sometimes not too good, and you be listening. I'm sure you listen to somebody singing, you be like, somebody sound like they're out of tune. And see, this is things that you have to learn and study. And
Yeah.
they taught me. So Slim taught me, every group has their own sound. He said, I was talking with one of the Highway QCs yesterday, and he was like, in the era that we grew up, we could be standing in the hallway, and if a group went on the stage, you knew if it was the Pilgrim Jubilees. You
Mm-hmm.
knew if it was the Violinhead. You knew if it was the Highway QCs or Supreme Angels or Jackson 7S or Willie Banks. You didn't have to guess. Everybody had a different sound and they had their own sound.
Yeah.
And this is what, to me, a lot of the younger groups of today are missing.
Yes.
They're not totally perfecting their sound.
Wow.
And back then when those guys when they wrote a song, they didn't just throw something together. They took their time and made sure that the song had meaning. When
Exactly.
first song that I actually wrote was at the Highway QCs. I wrote the song "Chained to the Master,"
Right.
and I was like really shocked that when they gave me the album, it was the title song. So I was happy, but I ended up writing, I'd say, about 5, 6 songs for the Highway QCs.
Yeah.
I wrote one for the Swan Silvertones and
Wow.
and a couple few other groups. But it was just work. And to me, when you are in quartet or when you're in music, the thing that you need to do, learn everything there is to know about gospel music. I mean, not I didn't just want to play the guitar and
Yeah.
be in the group. I wanted to learn how to sing all the parts. I
Right.
wanted to learn how to write the song. Then I wanted to learn how to go in the studio and record the song. And after I record the song, then I want to know how to produce the song.
Wow.
So, and then after that, I wanted to know how they play it on the radio. So you got to learn every aspect. You got to put yourself like, if I'm a DJ, is my audience going to enjoy this type of song?
That's right.
If not, you just don't throw a song on and force it down your audience's throat. You have got to put something there that they're going to like. And
And
this
and,
not
and,
and
and Larry, what we see a lot of the stations they're doing, they're just playing the same artists every single week, same artists every single week, and they're not presenting a flavor. You could tell there's no substance into what they're doing.
yeah.
It's
Well,
just commonality, on a weekly
yeah.
basis.
Well,
And that's what I
see,
love about V Network
a lot,
Radio. We
yeah,
get down to the quartet
yeah,
sound of the quartet sound, the really quartet sound, and
true
I
quartet
love
sound.
that. Hey Larry, I just want to show everybody, I want to thank all the viewers and there's presenting love hearts out there. They're loving you, and also they're commenting in the chat room. And also want to thank all the viewers out there that are viewing. I want to show everyone the picture right there. Yes, right there, the guitarist right here, and also he plays organ. Yep. There you go. Yep. And also producing. Yes, and you produced this project from the Yale University Divinity School, and tell us about that project that you produced and wrote.
Uh, I was with Slim, and we were off for about a month, and so when I'm off, I attend church. So I was playing for a church, filling in for a friend of mine as a musician. And the pastor heard me, and he asked me would I come to his church and teach his choir to sing gospel music. And this was an Episcopal church. So from there, the first Sunday that they sang, the dean of the divinity school at Yale University was sitting in the audience. So after the service, he walked up to me and said, "How would you like to teach at Yale University?" And I was like just standing there, like, he got to be kidding. I'm like, I've just finished high school, and they want me to teach at an Ivy League school. So I was blessed to be able to teach at Yale University for 5 years. And believe it or not, students got one credit for being in my class. And
Wow.
that was, I mean, it was an amazing thing. And what we did, I'm a guy who likes to work with people. So
Yeah.
what I did, I got the choir together, and the choir it wasn't just African American, it was a multinational choir.
Mm-hmm.
It was black, white, Puerto Rican, Spanish, Italian, you name it. We had it. And what I did, I got 5 members from the local quartet group, from like Sister Vicky Howard from the Spiritual Souls, Daryl and Darnell McClam from the Pilgrims of Faith,
Yeah.
Sharon Kelly from the Golden Voices, and Sister Faye Mackey from the Heavenly Stars. I got all of them to come and be a part of the project. They're leading songs. And I mean, it turned out really amazing, knowing it.
Wow.
And I mean, we even used some of the pastors Elder Burgess, the Hante Burgess, he played organ, and Elder David Burgess, he played piano. So, and my god brother from Washington, D.C., he came in and played the guitar and helped co-produce it, because his name is Claude Austin from, you've heard of him, Zion, out of Washington, D.C. Because I was trying to play the piano. I figured out I couldn't produce it and play the piano too. So I was kind of like moving all over that night. And my church family came in from Manassas, Virginia. My pastor, Apostle Barbara Devon, she came in and she was the moderator. But it was a wonderful project, and I'm thinking about re-releasing it. But I mean, I've had a chance, like I said, to just be blessed. I mean, not long after I released that project, I was hired at Yale Radio
Mm-hmm.
at WYBC. So I spent 5 years there on the
Wow.
air.
Yeah.
So, so all I can say is, it's like wherever I go, the Lord is always blessing me to go higher and higher. You
Wow.
know,
Hey Larry, so many sending messages. When I'm looking over, I'm reading the messages. Also, we got Donald Knight. He said, and let me just show you the comments. He said, man, it is good seeing you yesterday. And him said, New York. I was with the sensational Friendly Five, your organ and legend, in your organ and legend in my book. Yes.
yeah, yeah, he was standing behind me the whole time I was playing. I turned around, he's like, "Man, that's an organ. You playing the organ? That's a great sound." But I thank him for that. I mean, I learned not to be big headed.
Yeah.
Being humble, you go a long way. And one of the other things I learned from the William brothers, I learned from Doug and Melvin and Leonard. You can learn more being around like major artists and all that
Yep.
if you don't know anything. Just sit there
Hmm.
with your mouth closed. They will tell you everything you want to know or need to know about learning something. If you go in there like you do this, you do that, then you're not going to learn anything. I mean, I've known Frank Williams since I was like about 17, and Huey and all that. I mean, all the Williams family. I learned how to produce,
Yeah.
you know, with these guys, and then there was Milton Bigham from the Georgia Mass Choir. He taught me, and also Jerry from the New Jersey Mass Choir that made "I Want to Know What Love Is."
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
these guys taught me how to be a producer
Wow.
because I used to stay there and just watch them all night long. Turn this button, turn that button. Every now and then I raise my hand and say, "Why are you doing that?" And they say, "Well, you can't hear this, or you can't hear that, or you got too much of this." And it took me a while to get get my talent to where it should be. But
Yeah.
I thank good Lord that I was blessed because when we would go in the studio, Slim would always say, "You sit here and make sure they record what I want them to record and make sure they have my sound. Don't let them change nothing." He said,
Wow.
"I want Supreme Angel. I don't want nobody else sound but Howard Slim Hunt."
Hey, hey, Larry, we got so many back channeling us. We got Teddy Cross from the New Gospel Keynotes.
Yeah,
He's
that
in the audience. Also, we have Cheryl Dowdell. Said true legend. I tell you, and so many are back channeling me, and I'm telling you, they're throwing up the love and the hearts, and yeah, they're back channeling me. They love what you do as a legend in the gospel. They appreciate you as a legend in the gospel music industry, and of course, yours truly. I've had the pleasure of working with you, and you produced several songs, some projects that we have on archive, and we hadn't released them, but yeah, it was a great honor and pleasure working with you, to produce those songs and those projects. Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoy what I do. I love it so much. I could go in the studio and just stay 3, 4 days in a row. And
Yeah.
I want to say hi to Teddy Cross because I mean, when they'd come to town and they'd be short a guitar player or a keyboard player, and they'd be like, "Come on up and play with us, man. Come on, sit in with us." And I try to keep that humble spirit where somebody would want to use me.
Yeah.
Basically, as a musician, when it came to playing the organ, I actually got the job. It's really funny. I played the guitar and I played the bass and a little bit of drums, but I was going to school and a friend of mine, the record "Oh Happy Day" came out, and he had this fancy way of playing it, and so his name was Richard Simon. So I asked him to teach me how to play "Oh Happy Day."
Uh-huh.
So he taught me how to play "Oh Happy Day," and we were rehearsing with Supreme Angel. I went to audition to get in the group playing guitar, and one of the other guys he was going to play the organ. So I was like, "Man, I can play a little bit of organ." So I started playing "Oh Happy Day," and Slim stuck his head in the room and said, "You can play that?" And I was like, "A little bit." He said, "Good. You ain't got to play the guitar. You're gonna be on that." So I had to take my guitar and find all the chords to the songs on the organ. And that's how I actually started in
and
quartet.
and
But some of my
uh
heroes, and I mean, to me, I give credit where credit is really due. To
yes,
me,
sir.
some of the best organ players and keyboard players there is. To me, I know they honor all the guitar players and all this stuff, but you got Carlton Hampton, Hampton Carlton, the Mighty Clouds. He was actually the first organ player for quartet on
Wow.
the road. And then you got from the Jackson Southern Ed, Hayron Griffin, and then they had another organ keyboard player. I can't think of his name right now, who played with the Jackson Southern Ed. These were the first guys to do the job. I'm like the third guy to come along to,
Wow.
when it comes to playing true quartet.
Yeah.
And
Eh,
I mean, so but to me, I think it's to me they should honor these guys at these workshops and these
yeah.
because I mean, if you look on stage now, it used to be you used to see two guitars, a bass, drums, and maybe an organ player. But now
Mm-hmm.
you look at the stage, you see two keyboard players, one guitar.
Mm-mm.
So, to me, I would like to honor the guys like Harry and Griffin and Hampton Carter with the Clouds. They need their just reward. Me, I'm all right, but I want to honor these guys.
Right.
Because it's time. Because like I say, we are the ones who helped change the sound of quartet. We improved it by
Wow.
playing keyboard and organ. Because I mean, I remember a time like back in the '60s, all you had was one guitar. If you had a bass guitar, they might not let you in the church
Wow.
because that was considered to be a rock and roll instrument.
Yeah.
But then they added the clouds came along and they added the drums, the organ, the bass, and Johnny Martin said whatever he have on his record is what he wanted to have on stage, and that's what the rest of the group started doing.
Yeah, and Rev, I just want to show everybody the projects that you worked on. Again, we're here with Reverend Larry Young. I tell you, a living legend right here on the V Network Radio, Music Entertainment Industry Talk. And here is Slim and the Supreme Angels. And yes, there is Larry right there on the side, on your right hand side or your left hand side there with the glasses there, next to Slim. Yes, and I tell you, some great pictures there. Yeah, there you go again with Slim and the Supreme Angels. Nobody But You. Some of the greatest music ever by Slim and the Supreme Angels, man. And you were part of that bringing up. And it's so wonderful to see that you're still going strong. You continue working with the Supreme Angels, and yeah, and man, and you're working with other artists also. Tell me, down through the years, what are some of the memorable moments for you, Rev?
Well, I guess the most memorable moments is that I got to talk to the legend. Most of them are passed away, but to sit down and talk with Reverend Julius Cheeks, to sit down and talk to Spencer Taylor, to Willie Banks, Frank Williams. I mean, man, you just don't know the wisdom that come from being out there on the road for the time that they were there. They went through civil rights movements and all this kind
Mm-hmm.
of stuff. I mean, these guys were sleeping in cars, but now we can go to the Marriott or the Hilton, and I mean, they barely had food to eat, all kind of stuff. And this is what we need to understand, man. We need to respect our elders and remember where, they were the one who opened the door for us. I mean, social media to me has opened the door for a lot of groups to be heard that would not necessarily be heard. And that's good. But if you want to call yourself professional, then do it the right way. Learn to sing. You
Exactly.
got a lot of singers nowadays, and I'm not gonna call any names, But when I watch the stage now, I see more groups that have more moves than the Temptations before they even sing one note in the mic. Learn to sing. I mean, because you cannot put no moves on a record.
That's
You
right.
cannot record one side step or jump on a record. You have to sing. And singing is what made. And see, the thing is, some of the younger groups don't understand. You know, there was a time when you said the Pilgrim Jubilee, you could have the Pilgrim Jubilees or the Gospel Keynotes or Slim by themselves with just 4 or 5 local artists on your anniversary, and the place would be so full and so packed and running over with people. But now it takes like almost 10 to 15 groups to get them almost in there. And see, you got to understand. Back then, people came. Okay, I knew the Canton Spirituals before people even heard him. I knew Lee Williams before people had seen him.
Yeah.
George Dean all before they recorded their big hits. I used to see these guys. These guys used to open up for Slim and Willie Banks and all that. And they got their chance on a major label, and they put out some good material, which took off, and it brought them on the road. And see, people. Let me explain this here. People don't understand. Like the Canton Spirituals, Live in Memphis One is not. It basically is considered to be a hit album because it has like 7 or 8 hit records on there. And hit records is what brought the people out to see you. You can have nowadays, you got groups, everybody can get airplay. Everybody can get on internet radio or regular radio, but you have to be on Billboard and all this, to really get out there. And one thing Spencer Taylor told me, and Slim, they said, just because you play in a professional group, that does not make you professional.
All
You
right
got
now.
you got so many people that say I'm professional, but what have they done? I always tell my young folks, the ones that I work with the
Yeah.
most, like real close, I say you have to build up a resume of doing something before you go saying I'm this, that, and the other. Build yourself a resume, get some credentials. So when people say, "What have you done?" Here it is. Same thing
And
you would do for a job, right?
and Rev, and a lot of the younger artists today, they think that they can go from Massachusetts to Boston, which is in Massachusetts, and they say, "Oh, I'm
Yeah,
professional," and
yeah. I mean,
they haven't even gotten their ears wet yet.
man, they haven't crossed the state line, or actually haven't crossed the 2 county lines in the state. But
Yeah,
everybody, you can't sing a couple of Sundays and say, okay. I mean, basically, growing up, this is how we did. And I'm talking about with my father. I sang in my father's group, and I watched a lot of groups from around D.C. where I grew up.
yeah,
When you join a group, you rehearse and you rehearse for like 2 or 3 months. And on Sunday, when it was that program time, you didn't sing. You sat on the front row
that's right.
while the
Sat
group
on the bench.
sang. And if one of
Yeah,
the guys might get, who if they got tired or they think you might can handle it for a couple of bars, they'd call you up and let you sing a few bars, and then you had to go back and sit back on the bench, right? And you didn't sit in the back, you didn't walk in and out, you was on the front row.
wow.
And
Yeah.
then
Hey,
now the hardest thing was when you play the guitar, man, they would make you play one song 50 times just to make sure you got it. You would go
yeah,
to sleep knowing that song. You would play it back and forth. And see, people just jump up nowadays. You cannot jump up. You have
yeah.
to put time in on your craft.
Yeah, and then one of the things too is that a lot of the musicians today, they don't watch the leader. They're actually playing, and they're playing over the leader. You know what I'm saying? It's like they don't even watch the leader. to see where the leader is going with the music style, because like Willie Banks and all the Willie Neal Johnson, they might rub their head and give you a signal to go to the next song, and you steady in one key, and you just playing, and you're not recognizing the signal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. Slim had a bunch of signals: up, down, you're too loud, you ain't playing enough. I mean, these are things that you have to learn.
Yeah.
Slim sometimes, like, if the snare drum was too loud, Slim would make a motion like he hit the snare, and then he'd bring his hand down. That means you too loud. We
Yeah.
had a guy one time play with us one night, and he was playing the drum, and he just got all into it and carried away. And Slim just kept singing, and he just said, "Oh, you can get up now and go on." He got the guy up
Wow.
in the middle of the song. He said, "Oh, you
Uh-huh.
can sit down and play." He had one of the other drummers sit down and play, because Slim is like, you know you owe the audience your best.
That's right.
You don't you can't expect for people to come and and pay 25, 30, 40, and $50, and here you are giving them a 10 cent performance. That's not
Mm-hmm.
good. That's why they won't come back. you know
Wow.
Quartet is a really big industry.
Yeah.
And basically, yes, choirs have had hit records and all that, but trust me, you cannot travel with a choir all over the place. You can't take 50 people in a choir and go up and down the road like you could take 7 or 8 or 10 in a quartet and go.
Yeah.
See, people come out. Quartet is just, I mean, it's just what's going on. Quartet is what I started with. My father got me into it. The first thing he did, he took me to a program, and I saw both sets of blind boys back in the early '60s. I'm
Wow.
talking about the Alabama and the Mississippi. They sang separate, and then they sang together, man. And watching guys sing, jump up and down, and all that. I mean, I was like, they gonna fall. They blind, but they were singing. And then, like, I think about 1968, my uncle took me to see the Mighty Clouds of Joy, the Pilgrim Jubilee.
Yeah.
These guys were all traveling together.
That's right.
And I mean, he's talking about the Pilgrim Jubilee, the Mighty Clouds of Joy, Gospel Air, the Fantastic Violinists. I mean, man, to a kid, it was like I was in a candy store, quartet.
Hey.
These guys were awesome. They didn't need a half an hour. They didn't need 45 minutes. I'm talking about in 12 minutes.
Wow.
They would do what they had to do, and they were gone. You'd be like, man, and the next time they come to town, people would be right there, and they'd bring a friend.
Yeah. Hey, Rev, I want to play a little bit of this song right here.
Under the blood. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna stay. Yeah. Under the blood. How many of y'all is with me tonight? Gonna stay under the blood. And the world.
All right, all right. I had to present that one. So many in the back channel had asked me to play that song, Under the Blood. Man, wonderful, wonderful project right there. And what was it like, recording that particular song, Rev?
We were blessed with the Under the Blood. It was a hit for us.
Yeah.
And I have found out, I have been to like so many different churches and all that. You would be surprised at how many altar calls and saints are you singing, stay under the blood. I mean, people just, that's like the worship song. Come, bring somebody to Christ. They start singing under the blood. And it was a good project. It was produced by Doug and Melvin Williams from Blackbird Records, and it was on Inner on the Inner label. But I
Yeah.
mean, it was just a unique project. It opened a lot of doors for us, and it climbed up the Billboard charts to I think number 11. And I mean, it was like really an awesome project. And we got to do a few more projects that were awesome. We did Nobody But You, which was also produced by Doug and Melvin Williams.
Right.
And we did a project that really took off, which got us to the Grammys. Uh, Together as One, it featured the Williams Brothers, the Mighty Clouds of Joy, and Slim and the Supreme Angels. The only
Yes.
thing they forgot to do, they should have videoed that night, but they didn't. That they didn't video that. I mean, that so many people say, "Y'all didn't video that." I mean, that. I mean, I was so proud to be going to the Grammys. They were like, Supreme Angels, Mighty Clouds of Joy,
Wow.
William Brothers. I mean, it's just an awesome project. And I mean, to me, I've been a part of some really great projects. I went to, I, well, I guess through Spencer Taylor, I wrote, like I said, about 5 or 6 songs for them,
Uh-huh.
and I got to meet uh, Louis Johnson, who was the lead singer for Swan Silvertone, and I played guitar on the old Landmark album they recorded, and I wrote the song Day by Day on the
Wow.
second project that they did for Savoy. And I guess one of the most unknown things that people don't know that I did on this Bishop Darrell McFadden sings the song "Lay Down Our Life for the Lord."
Mm.
On the original version of "Lay Down Our Life for the Lord" with Julius Cheek, I'm playing the bass guitar.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
and that's what I'm trying to say. Just don't do one thing. Try to do everything you can
Yeah.
to be, to be in the lift quartet up. You know, I, I mean, I'm playing piano on some. There's some albums I'm playing piano, some I'm playing organ, some I'm playing guitar. I'm even playing drums. And I was like, just let me just get in there. I just want to do it. I want to learn more, and uh, I have an adopted mama that was real close to me. She used to tell me all the time. She said, "You have great talent. Now, all you need to do is pass it on to somebody else so that
Wow.
they can learn it, and then they'll pass it on, and it'll keep growing." And
And Rev,
and
you
that's what I try to do.
Rev, you produced and wrote and played for the Gospel Pearls out of Washington. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's my sister, and
Okay, that's
also
your sister group.
yeah, the Gospel Pearls, the True Tones, the Southern Gospel Singers. Actually, what it was, I back in I guess in mid '70s, all the groups were back then they were cutting 45s, and we had uh, no record company. We had nowhere where we could go in Washington D.C. So I was watching, I guess by the early '80s, I was watching Motown 25, and I'm seeing how Berry Gordy started all, Motown. So I'm like, I'm gonna do that. So I started Washington D.C.'s first gospel label.
Wow.
All right, and I recorded uh, the Mighty Wonders from Baltimore, who Cedric, little Cedric and JoJo, who sing Jodeci. I recorded them, and I recorded I recorded groups from Baltimore, North Carolina, New Orleans, New Connecticut.
Yeah.
I asked the Lord to bless me to be able to travel all over the United States just recording groups, and He has done that for me.
Yeah. Hey, Rev, being a legend in the gospel music industry, what is the best advice that you have had been given, from start until now, that has kept you?
I guess the thing that really kept me is be humble. Don't think you better than anybody. To me, I'm no better than anybody else. I just want to be humble and I just want to do what I do. Playing is what instruments, playing the drums or the guitar or organ or the keyboard. I love to do it. Singing in a group, I love to do it. It's something that I've done for I guess about 61 years. That's
Wow.
how long I have been doing this. Most people don't might find that kind of hard to believe, but yes, I started when I was 6 and I'll be 67 this year, and the Lord bless me. So, like I said, and I got to do every aspect of it.
Wow.
And I've traveled everywhere. I've been in every state except for maybe 4 or 5, and it's just singing, and it's really nice that you can go to Texas or to a concert in Chicago. These people are praising the Lord the same way.
That's right.
Quartet is what's going on. I mean, if you listen to most of your choir songs nowadays, you hear that quartet beat. You hear that quartet flavor. And
Exactly.
so you can't say quartet is dead. Quartet is very much alive
Oh
and it's
yeah.
going. And but like I said, we have got to lift each other up. But we got to work together. Now, the most important thing I try to tell all of my friends in quartet, you travel up and down the road and you eat all kinds of day and night and all that. Don't be afraid to go to the doctor. Because after a
Right.
while, you don't get. I mean, I started when I was my first time on the road. I was like 15,
Yeah.
and hey, I got some aches and pains now that I didn't have when I
Catch
was
up with you.
15. So, I got some things going on that I'm like, okay, you sure you talk about me, doctor? So go to. I mean, your health is very important, especially if you're singing. So, I want all my friends to be around a long time, helping to, you
Yeah.
know, you know, just build up this what was built for us. Dixie Hummingbirds laid way, Mighty Clouds of Joy, Soul Stirrers,
Hmm.
High Tile Brothers. I mean, all these groups paved the way, Nightingales, for us to be where we are today.
That's
And,
right.
we have to respect it, honor it, and keep going with it.
All right.
And my
Hey man.
greatest thing, like I say, is I want to see my fellow keyboard players honored because we have some very good keyboard players
Yeah.
and we've had some very good role models. Even in Tommy Ellison and the Singing Stars, they had a guy that he didn't stay long, but his name was Sam Moses. I mean, he
Okay.
was a very talented keyboard player, but but most people don't know that he did. Where you saw the writing of all the group's names on the side of the buses and the van,
Yeah.
he did that.
Wow.
He was a true artist, and
Wow.
a lot of people have to. Most time I don't really tell it, but now that I'm retired, I can do it. I spent 30 years in law enforcement.
What?
Yeah, so not only was I a
Wow.
musician, I was a policeman too.
Man.
Private investigator, undercover investigator. So I had two passions: gospel music and law enforcement. So,
Wow.
and nobody told me I couldn't do both of them, so I did both of them. You would be
That is
surprised at how many
wonderful.
quartet singers that are policemen nowadays.
Wow. Man, and man, you've had an awesome career in the gospel music industry, and you're still doing it up, in the gospel music industry. You was just with the Supreme Angels on last night, and man, you're still doing it up in the gospel music industry. If you had to give a encouraging word to the young artists that's coming up in the quartet into the gospel industry, whether it's quartet or whether it's contemporary, what would it be?
Put the Lord first. Find somebody who has been through what you're trying to go through. And I mean, hey, I I've done this probably what almost 50 years before somebody else. But there's somebody who did it 50 years before me. Find somebody, sit down, and ask them how did they come this far.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how did you get here? I mean, a lot of people don't realize they think James Cleveland, but James Cleveland actually traveled with quartet. And in 1968, James Cleveland was going home, and he was telling some of the quartets one night. He said, "I got one more thing that I'm gonna try, and then if that don't work, I'm just gonna pastor my church." And that was the Gospel Music Workshop of America.
Wow.
So I guess it worked. Reverend C.L. Franklin. He was on the road. Him and Aretha, all these folks that came before us. Quartet has some history. There's a lot of R&B singers who sang gospel music in quartet groups, even in the Temptations. A lot of the Eveready, they associated with whenever Jackie Wilson. They call him Mr. Entertainment. So trust me, you have a quartet has a rich history.
Yes.
And all I
Yes.
want to see is that it continues. I don't want it to die out.
Yeah.
And I don't want it to, be, I mean, to me, I would say to the younger generation, respect
Mm-hmm.
quartet also, because I mean, when I was growing up, you go into church, you took your hat off. I don't understand. I mean, I don't understand the MC got a hat on, MC in a concert, or and I mean, all the quartets had on suits. That's what
Right.
quartet was known for. Everybody had a suit on, but we're in a jean tennis shoe and cap baseball cap era with quartet. Don't tear down what has been built up by so many before you.
That's right.
So
That's right.
get dressed. If you're a quartet, put on a suit. you
Yeah.
know, I actually once ate the most expensive chicken sandwich you ever can imagine. We were singing at Legree in New York, and I was on the bus sleep, so I woke up and I was hungry, so I didn't go into church. Well, I didn't go in the sanctuary, but I walked into church and I had on a pair of jeans and a sweatshirt and some tennis shoes. I went upstairs and got a chicken sandwich, and I came back downstairs, and so I was eating a sandwich on the bus, and Slim said, "That chicken look like it's good." I said, "Yeah, man, it is really good." I said, "It's hot." And he said, "How much it cost?" I said it's $10. He said, "You paid $60 for a sandwich?" I said, "Nah, $10." He said, "No, you paid $60 because you went to church with some jeans on." But that was the best sandwich I ever ate for $60.
And those of you that didn't know, but we had fines,
Yeah,
and
we
we
got
had
fine.
rules and regulations that we had to abide by in quartet. Nowadays, these quartet artists, they could come in and do anything, have hats on, even come in some looking like they just came off the street.
Yeah,
You were fine back then. Uh,
man, I was fined $100 for being 20 minutes late. Like, man, and
yeah.
but the thing that I loved about quartet in the era that I would say coming up, we
Hmm.
sang every night.
Yeah.
We didn't just sing on Saturday and Sunday like now, but I'm talking about quartet. I mean, I was even a promoter. Teddy Cross would tell you I used to have the keynotes and the Swannies and
Yeah.
Doc McKenzie and
Oh
all of
man.
them. in Warrenton, Virginia, Culpeper, and man, we have concerts. I mean, you talking about 5 or 6 major groups on a Tuesday night, a Wednesday night, Thursday
Wow.
night. People would just show up. I mean, groups would
Yeah.
go. I mean, there were times like we'd they go to Baltimore and sing at 3 o'clock. Then they rush to DC and sing at 7 o'clock. Then on Monday night they go down in Virginia or Maryland, and then Tuesday. I mean, we just sang every night. Sometimes I'd leave home and be gone for 2 to 3 weeks,
Mm-mm-mm.
but I love what I was doing.
Right, right. Wow, man! I tell you, man, it's been a pleasure going down memory lane and uh, talking about some of the groups that you play with, and and you're honored with so many different awards. It's so great to see that we still have a living legend, and then that we can give you your flowers while you yet living. And it's
I
great
appreciate it,
pleasure.
man. I appreciate it a whole lot, man.
Yeah, because you've done
You and
so
I have
much
been
for
friends
so
for quite a
many
while now.
artists. Yep, in the industry, and you work with so many artists, and we have to appreciate our artists in the gospel music, and especially our quartet industry. So it's great.
Yes, yes. I
Yeah.
mean, like I said, one of the main things that I would also tell quartet singers, especially your lead singers, if you're going to sing, then go to church. you know, go to church, listen to the word. You know, I go to church on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday night prayer meeting. Because you can't tell somebody how to do something and you're not doing it yourself.
That's right.
Amen.
Amen.
I was taught to go. I mean, I was taught to go to church and then go sing. then
That's right.
know what you're singing about.
Yes. Yeah. All right, Reverend Young, it's been a pleasure, and man, we're gonna take it out with one of the classics by Slim and the Supreme Angels. People get ready.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's featuring Doug and Melvin Williams from the Williams brothers.
All
Yes,
right. Thank you so
that,
much, and God bless. Thank you.
thank you. Always a pleasure to talk with you and spend time with you.
Yeah.
You and I have been friends for a long time, and I mean, I just thank the Lord for what you're doing and how you're doing it. You're bringing folks closer together, and you're bringing them information about our quartet industry. And congratulations to you on your award that you got recently.
Well, thank
So,
you so much. Yes.
so
All
you keep
right.
doing what you're doing, man. Because like I said, I've done it now. I don't mind passing the torch. So
All
it's
right.
your turn now.
Yes, sir. All
So you
right.
take care, and to all of my friends and family that's listening, thank you for joining in and listening to me for a little while. And like I said,
All right. God bless
enjoy
now.
yourself and have a blessed night.
Yep, you too.